that is. Because I am only working with two screens today. I usually use 3.
There you go.
Oh, perfect. Well, good morning, everybody. I would like to call, the May 26, 2022 APCD hearing board meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll and swear in the witnesses?
Thank you, Chair Rodriguez. Before I call the roll, I would like to note that all members present are participating via teleconference. All votes will be taken by roll call vote. With that, I will start with the roll call. Member Gonzalez.
Present.
Member Powers.
Here.
Member Spencer.
Here.
Vice Chair Schlick.
Here.
Thank you. Chair Rodriguez.
Here.
Thank you. I would like to ask the following individuals to please identify themselves for the record. Hearing Board Counsel.
Emily Helms, Senior Deputy County Counsel, Counsel for the Hearing Board.
Air Pollution Control District staff.
Dan Plotner, Program Coordinator.
Barry Mahoney, Civil Actions Investigator.
Thank you. Is that all the staff present today? Thank you. I will now swear in those that wish to provide testimony on any item on today's agenda. This includes any members of the public or APCD staff. Please turn on your video at this time and raise your right hand for the swearing in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the matter before this hearing board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, you can proceed with the administrative items.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, so before we begin our administrative items, Madam Clerk, have we received any requests from members of the public that wish to address the board today?
Thank you, Chair Rodriguez. We have not received any requests from members of the public to address the board under any of the items on the agenda. However, if there are any members of the public on teleconference line wishing to address the board under the public communication, please raise your hand now by pressing #9 or use the raise hand feature on the Zoom. Seeing that there are no hands raised, there are no members of the public wishing to provide public testimony this morning.
I have a question, Madam Clerk and Chair Rodriguez. Who's William Curcio of the PUD? Is he going to be providing testimony or participating today, or just not providing testimony? But
Good morning. I'm Tom Rosales I'm Assistant Director with PUD. I'll be doing the testimony for the department.
okay,
Will Curcio is with us, but he'll just be listening.
thank you for clarifying that.
No, thank you, Member Schlick. I'm moving towards that as well. So thank you very much, for anticipating that. There are no members of the public, so let's actually continue then with the approval of minute orders for May 12 of 2022. And I would have him, infer though, that everybody has had the chance to review this. Do we actually have any comments from the members of the board? Any comment? Thank you. Bill, that Member Powers. And any comments from the APCD?
No comments.
Okay. With no comments, no, certainly. Do I get a motion? To approve?
I'll move to approve.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Okay. So there's a motion by Member Spencer and seconded by Member Powers. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Chair Rodriguez. Member Gonzalez?
Aye.
Member Powers?
Aye.
Member Spencer?
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlick?
Aye.
Chair Rodriguez?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion has passed with all members present voting aye.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So let's actually proceed with the item number C of the administrative items, which is the continuance of the teleconferencing meeting option pursuant to Government Code Section 54953. The parenthetical E. We do this every single 30 days. So could you please, Madam Clerk, take it from here?
Thank you, Chair Rodriguez. Effective October 1st, 2021, AB 361 amended the Brown Act to allow suspension of the general teleconferencing requirements. if there is a proclaimed state of emergency or state or local officials have imposed recommended measures to promote social distancing. Revised teleconferencing requirements must still be met, including providing notice of the meeting as otherwise required by the Brown Act and providing an opportunity for all persons to attend and to address the legislative body directly via a call-in option or an internet-based service option. In order for this board to continue with meetings under revised teleconferencing procedures, the governing board must again adopt a resolution with required findings that would have been included in your attachment A for the in your agenda packet, and adopt resolution to renew those findings every 30 days. The requested action before your board today is to adopt the resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing Continuance of Teleconference Public Meetings Pursuant to Government Code Section 54953.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I know that as a board, we have been discussing the possibility of meeting again. I mean, pretty much based on the data that we get, I mean, from the state of California particularly, and also from the county of San Diego with regards to COVID cases. So personally, I mean, I feel that with there's a slight increase, I mean, on those cases right now. I mean, that would definitely move, to continue. I mean, the teleconferencing option, but I'm going to allow the other members of the board, I mean, to weigh in as well. Dr. Spencer, would you like to weigh in as well?
Yeah, I would. I mean, the numbers of COVID cases in San Diego County have really been on the rise, and hopefully they're peaking a little bit, but they are certainly much higher than they were when we first started discussing returning to in-person meetings a few months ago. So I would agree that we can make all of the findings to approve this resolution to continue teleconferencing virtual meetings.
Thank you, Dr. Spencer. Member Schlick?
I would second that motion. Yes, we have, unfortunately, it just seems like this pandemic just keeps going and going and going, like the Energizer Bunny, but not in a good way. So yes, I would second the motion to adopt this administrative item and continue teleconferencing for the next 30 days.
Thank you, Member Schlick. I mean, how about Member Powers? Bill?
I'm definitely in favor of continuing with teleconferencing. I must say it is remarkably convenient to do this as opposed to mobilizing to get in and out of the county building. So I'm definitely supportive of it, and especially with the COVID situation still being uncertain.
I definitely support, I mean, that statement, particularly on the sustainability aspect of the house. If we are preoccupied about the air environment for the county, definitely we need to make our contribution as well. Member Gonzalez, so welcome again. And your point of view with regards, to continuance, holding these meetings via teleconferencing.
Yes, I agree with the other members. It's convenient. It's a better way of having these meetings, in my opinion.
So I guess that we actually have a motion and a second. That I moved, then Vice Chair Schlick, has seconded. Could you please call the roll, Mia?
Thank you, Chair Rodriguez. Member Gonzalez?
Aye.
Member Powers? I think he's
frozen. Yeah.
I'll come back to Member Powers. Member Spencer?
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlick?
Aye.
Chair Rodriguez?
Aye.
Member Powers?
Aye.
Thank you. Madam Chair, that motion has passed with all members present voting aye.
Thank you so very much, Madam Clerk. Then let's proceed with item D on our agenda, which is the progress update for petition 4521, City of San Diego, Point Loma Wastewater Treatment Plan. And I believe that Mr. Tom Rosales is here to provide that update.
Actually, that was a district update.
Sorry.
Agenda. So the City of San Diego is here to answer any additional questions, but I was actually going to provide the update.
Well, thank you so very much, Mary, for the correction and definitely for preparing to present the update.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go right ahead. So per the board's request, the district is providing the update today on petition 4521. which is the City of San Diego's Point Loma wastewater treatment plant stipulated abatement order. For brief background, on August 26, 2021, the board granted the stipulated abatement order due to uncontrolled digester gas leaks occurring from 6 of the plant's 8 tanks. The stipulated abatement order called for significant replacement and repairs to be made to the pressure relief valves and to the hatches found on each of the 6 tanks where the leaks were occurring. District and Point Loma wastewater staff have met weekly since September of 2021 to keep in touch on the progress. In January 2022, the city still had not received the parts that they ordered back in September of 2021 due to supply chain issues related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, the city filed for an extension from February 1st to April 30th, 2022, and the extension was granted by the board January 13th, 2022. While the city was waiting for the parts to arrive, tanks C1 and C2, which have been offline since April of 2021, underwent major rehabilitation. So while these 2 tanks were not included under the stipulated abatement order, getting them both back online was critical so that each tank that is under the stipulated abatement order would be able to be taken offline for purposes of repairs and to still meet the operational needs of the plant. Once the ordered parts began to arrive during the first week of March, the city did replace all 16 pressure relief valves, and the city either fully replaced the hatches or repaired the gaskets to all 30 hatches. The repair and replacements were completed before April 30th, 2022, as was stipulated. The stipulated abatement order has 7 conditions, and to date, 6 of the 7 conditions have been fully satisfied by the city. However, currently condition number 6 is not yet satisfied. Condition 6 reads, returning to compliance with no digester gas leaks from pressure relief valves and hatches as measured by a handheld gas analyzer by April 30th, 2022. The district re-inspected the facility on May 4th, 2022, and discovered a leak from one of the 30 hatches. The hatch on tank N2 had a leak. And the district also found that 14 of the newly replaced valves measured methane levels between 130 up to 5,250 ppmv during that inspection, when previously methane values were detected up to 50,000 ppmv. While the valves are designed to vent under certain pressure conditions, those conditions were not applicable during the district's most recent inspection, and the permit language requires no uncontrolled leaks. So a notice of violation was issued to the city for violating the permit requirements and also for condition number 6 of the stipulated abatement order. The district notes that the city completed the replacements and repairs on schedule, and that there's been an overall decrease in methane values as measured from May 4th, 2022, compared to the values that the district measured during the last inspection on August 10th, 2021. For example, of the 11 valves that were sampled in both inspections, 7 of the valves had significant decreases. 2 had similar values, both under 4,000 ppmv, and 2 valves, both located on the same tank N1, had higher readings. In addition, 1 hatch showed a leak during the most recent inspection, and that leak was significantly lower than what it was during the August 10th, 2021 inspection. So although overall reductions were observed, the city was not able to achieve methane readings of 0 for all of the valves and hatches after the rehabilitation effort. So the district has recommended that the city applied for a permit modification that incorporates the manufacturer specifications for the newly installed valves. The new valve manufacturer specifications do have a known leakage rate. So further review with district engineering and city staff working together to more precisely define what constitutes an uncontrolled versus a controlled leak, and then accurately reflecting this information in a revised permit is the best path forward at this point. Most recently, the city met with the district last Thursday, May 19th, and the city did provide at that time district engineering staff with a new valve manufacturer specification sheet so that our engineering staff can determine if a permit modification is necessary. Also, the city has scheduled the valve manufacturer for a site visit the first week in June to ensure that the installation was done correctly and provide any additional information. And city staff will provide the district an update after that site visit. The city also created new operational PMs that they did not have before the stipulated abatement order in order to be more proactive in finding leaks. And also moving forward, when a digester tank is taken offline for maintenance purposes, any of the hatches that were not fully replaced during the time frame of the stipulated abatement order will now be fully replaced. So the district asked the City of San Diego staff to be at this meeting in case there were any further questions that the board might have. And thank you very much. This does conclude the district's update.
Thank you, Mary. You're always, very substantial with your updates.
My pleasure.
I certainly, when does the stipulated order, expire?
It's, I believe at the date that the board heard the extension, it was the earlier of April 30th or until the conditions were met, is what I recall.
Exactly. So if, the conditions haven't been met, particularly number 6, with that excursion, of methane gas, I'm going to be asking, will the petitioner be protected, from any further, NOVs? So because you've already issued NOVs, and rightfully so, that is within the purview, of the APCD. But how it is now that we're going to be working with petitioner, because definitely we cannot live, in a life of NOVs all the time until they actually come, to compliance.
So, so we are, continuing to work together. The weekly meetings will resume. The facility does have a semi-annual inspection that was due in July, which is fairly soon. So, moving forward, we're going to be looking at the permit modification and the initiation of the application process, and looking for that to, for those revisions moving forward for future compliance, and waiting for that annual inspection to see what comes of the manufacturer site visit.
When was the recommendation to the petitioner to submit a revision to their permit? Because again, this is where I'm going with this. So petitioner is definitely willing, that to come into compliance for X or Y reason, that it seems engineering mainly. They are unable to do that, because of the conditions of the permit. So how do we bridge that gap, and continue to make sure that petitioner continues, that with all the implementation, to make sure that they meet the compliance according to the permit conditions. So that there's, I think, a period of time that we still need to hold, petitioner's hand a little bit, and work with petitioner. So how do you continue doing that, but also not keep on issuing NOVs if we could avoid that?
Well, I can say that there was a notice of violation issued on May 10th due to the May 4th inspection. So the district has taken enforcement action because, the permit as written requires no leaks. So at this time, they're violating their permit condition and the stipulated abatement order.
Understood, definitely. I mean, I'm not, I'm just actually saying, how do we bridge this gap? So I'm thinking, trying to think outside of the box here. So on the an extension of stipulated order, or maybe the board brings something to the forefront. Definitely, I would love for the petitioner to be the one until they actually do come into compliance. I think there needs to be also that oversight. So, but I am gonna. That's just my personal opinion. So. Are there any questions? From the members of the board. To the APCD.
Yeah, I have a question, and that is, you were saying, Mary, that the manufacturer of these pressure relief valves indicates, or that the guarantee that the valve manufacturer provides should be synced up with the permit. And so these are not ruptured discs. I guess these are low pressure PRVs that reseat after they have a lift in pressure. Maybe this is a question for Tom.
Yeah.
Because if they were ruptured discs, they shouldn't leak at all. If they're another type of PRV that lifts and then reseats, then what all of this makes is coherent.
Correct.
Yeah, maybe Tom Rosales can speak to the type of PRV.
Certainly. First, I want to reintroduce myself, Tom Rosales, Assistant Director with City's Public Utilities Department. I also want to start by thanking Mary and Julie Byford, who's not with us on the call today, for, it's been a while, working through this issue with staff, if anything, and thanks to the board for the extension that was granted in February. I think it's forged a much better working relationship overall, and we've met most of those conditions. I'll go to the question first, but then if there's any others, I'll be glad to answer any of those. So if the PRVs are a safety feature meant to protect against any unintended or unwanted eruptions of the digesters and to provide safety for those working in the area. So you're correct, Member Powers, that they are meant to, on occasion, per the specifications of the manufacturer, actually lift. There are plates underneath the dome of the PRV mechanism. I don't know what the metal material is. I think it's aluminum, and several discs that actually kind of lift. And as soon as pressure has been regulated again, they fall back down. And so again, it's a safety feature to let those emissions go out until it's reached a safe level again.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the members of the board to either?
Okay, and so just a like a non-engineer's question. So again, the PRVs stands for like a pressure regulation valve.
Pressure relief valve.
Pressure relief valve.
Right.
And it seems like and just to clarify, so that to make sure I understand, so the notice of violation, May 10th, from the May 4th inspection, they found some leaks. They found one leak from 1 out of 30 hatches, and then some venting of the methane on 14 valves on that hatch. I don't know. I just want to, so just kind of like get an idea here. So, and then it was somewhere in the realm of like in the thousands of parts per million ppm. Was that parts per million? But that it wasn't like in the tens of thousands that it had been before. Did I get all that right, Mary?
Yeah, that sounds correct. There was 1 out of 30 hatches that had a leak, and 14 out of 16 of the new pressure relief valves had methane readings, and the most recent inspection that weren't 0.
16.
And that's what the permit requires currently. 0.
Yeah.
So there were 130 to 5,250 during the most recent inspection. And back in August, 10th of 2021, the values were, I believe, maxing out the handheld analyzer detection limit. And so we're reading 50,000 ppmv. So that's why the update included the information that the problem was overall, being trending downward since that time, but it's not zero.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I fully understand the status of everything that's going on. Thank you both for being here. So that's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, for either petitioner, the APCD or a PUD. Good. So, Mr. Rosales, the APCD has indicated that they have encouraged, the Point Loma to get a permit. The modification of the permit. What is the status of that?
Yeah, no, that's a very good suggestion, and thank you, Mary, for walking through kind of the rationale on why we would entertain that idea. Our staff has started conversations, as Mary indicated, with the APCD engineering staff and technical staff. I believe that was just last week. And so because we changed manufacturers with a little bit different specifications on the PRV, the logic there lies in asking for a modification for that permit for the digesters. I think it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the devil is in the details once APCD staff has gone through the information and whether or not it does technically make sense to actually go ahead with the modification. So we're moving through that. I think it's a good, again, a good idea. To the point you were making about continuing NOVs, that would be a concern of ours, as you indicated, during this sort of gap period as we're working through a possible modification of the permit. So as using your words, if there's some way to think outside the box of how do we, avoid that without upsetting sort of your own obligation to make sure that we're doing things properly, we're open to that as well if there's a solution that can be solidified.
I appreciate that definitely you recognize, this gap, and certainly they're willing to continue working with the APCD. My proposal will be the following at this point in time, because this has not been resolved. Either with the stipulated order or anything like that, we still have that period. I know that on June 1st, you're going to be meeting, with the manufacturer of the PRVs, and you're going to be doing an assessment. Definitely APCD will be there witnessing and becoming part of that. I would love, to see you on this, variance. The 4521 again, the first meeting in July. This is the second week in July, for another status report to see, what type of action that you have decided upon taking. Again, the responsibility and accountability lies, with you, and on the operation. It's not on the APCD. But, the APCD also will have time, to see, what is it that they are going to be managing this excursion with you. And I believe that would certainly provide us a better opportunity to see not only the status that was presented today, but how you're going to be addressing it going forward. We have known of, some inactions and in the past. And I think, that as a board, since we have this opportunity is to help you, come back into compliance, the best way possible. And I think, that would give us a good framework to see what the next steps are going to be. Would you be willing to actually do that? Both, this question goes to both APCD and PUD.
Yeah, for PUD, absolutely. I think we want to resolve, and we've done a great job in investing in a very short time. I think we spent over $7 million to get to where we are today. So we want to continue that to be in compliance with all regulations. So again, if there's a path forward, simple as dialogue with staff to try to figure out something, and or maybe a permit modification that makes sense, we're completely open to that.
So so the district is on board with that suggestion. In fact, I was going to recommend an update on the July 28th meeting. The reason I was originally going to suggest the July 28th meeting was because I know that the city is working on getting that one hatch repaired, and the part is about 4 weeks out for delivery. And then also, since our semi-annual district inspection is due sometime during the month of July, I thought that that date might be a little more generous to make sure that we have, have had time to inspect and do any necessary follow-ups. But we could also do it the first meeting in July if the board is more agreeable to that timeline.
Yeah, if I could add to that, you're right, Mary. The hatch that is still have some leakage going on, we're completely replacing that. And my information shows that it should be shipping on July 20th. So there'll be installation after that. And so, yeah, there's either way, I think, I'll offer that we should just continue. If there is a status update in earlier July, maybe we know something at that point in terms of where we stand. But if you want to line it up to that new hatch, yeah, it would be probably more so in August.
Personally, I would like to see the most comprehensive report with the data that you have currently that would allow us, as a team, I guess, to make sure, that, PUD actually comes into compliance. So I definitely hear, that Mary out, and I'm definitely very much, in agreement that it needs to be in July, I think, so we cannot be postponing this. So, I have no problem for the July 28th, personally. How about the other members of the board?
I don't have any problem with that date. I just want to maybe understand something. So even if NOVs are not issuing, but the district staff will still be documenting what's going on, right? Because I know, like, part of the reason for an NOV is notice to the petitioner that there's a problem, and also, protection of the public. So I'm, I just want to make sure, even if, we're helping them along and helping them try to work together, but still the public's being protected and the data is being collected on what's happening there. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're still responsible for any enforcement actions, for any violations that occur. That's our job. And but also we're going to be continuing to work with the petitioner with the weekly meetings that have been going on since September of 2021.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. The data, however, that it is the petitioner's responsibility and accountability to collect that data according to the permit requirements and the stipulated order of agreement. So definitely Mr. Rosales will have vested interest in continuing collecting the data as required. Okay, so that definitely will be my proposal. To come here back on the 28th of July. The APCD will provide an update to the boards to see where is the next steps, and it has to be really very comprehensive. So look forward to your collaboration with PUD. In addition to that, Madam Clerk, I would love for you to also include as part of the packet, that for after the noticing, just for us, the board orders, or the stipulated order of agreement rather, so for us to refresh our memory on all the details on the requirements. Okay.
For clarification, Madam Chair, that would be the original
correct
consideration. Thank you.
Correct. Yes, the one that the stipulated, the order of agreement with all the details. Yes, ma'am.
And also for clarification, Chair Rodriguez, the July 28th update will be the city's responsibility to provide that update to the board.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yes, because your responsibility has ended right now. That it is up to the petitioner now to come to us, working with you, of course, the APCD, to ensure that that report is very comprehensive. And I want to see next steps, and hopefully some of those next steps have already been initiated.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely.
And just an FYI for a petitioner, you can contact me and I can give you the dates of when we would need that information by, so that it can be included for the July 28th meeting.
Thanks, Mia.
Perfect. Thank you so very much, everybody. I mean, and well done. I have to also commend you because I know that Point Loma, I mean, that is not an easy, nor is it a new facility. I did, some graduate work, I mean, over there when I was at the bench, and certainly it's a monster and something, that maintenance need to be, up to date. So yeah, I mean, commend you on that one, so, a decrease of about tenfold, that would be really very good, so, but we need to meet the requirements. Thank you so very much. Okay, so hold it here. Let me actually find my bearings on this one. I mean, so what we actually have not done, I mean, is that we needed to accept, the progress update from the district. And I need to certainly have a motion to accept, the progress update by the district. Do I get a motion to accept the progress update by the district?
I will motion.
I'm going to give this one to Member Schlick. I mean, do I get a second?
Second.
Okay, perfect. I mean, so there is a motion by Member Schlick, seconded by Powers. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Member Gonzalez?
Aye.
Member Powers?
Aye.
Member Spencer?
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlick?
Aye.
Chair Rodriguez?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion has passed to accept the updated report with all members present voting aye.
Thank you so very much, Madam Clerk. I would like now to provide an update, and that has to do with the recent training that we got, from ARB. As the members of the board know, I collected certain action items, which I discussed with counsel, I mean, for the hearing board, Emily Helms, who's definitely here online. And the agreement was how it is that we can actually take action on those recommendations, that were made, I mean, that during the training. So Emily and I will certainly work together to provide an update, I mean, on those actions and a path forward on the 28th of July as well, so that we know how it is now we're going to be addressing, those elements. So they included pretty much revisions to hearing board rules. And I think, that we can definitely have action and progress on those elements. So Mia, or Madam Clerk rather, if you could please notice that, for the 20th of July as well, that will be, I think, a very good meeting. Now, do we actually have any comments, I mean, from the members of the board or, or the public, even though we don't have anybody, APCD? Yes, go ahead. I mean, Member Spencer.
Do we need to vote on the recommendation to have the city present an update on the 28th? Is that something we need to vote on or not?
I don't believe so. I think that we just no need to request for it to be noticed. I mean, but Madam Clerk, could you please correct me on that?
Madam Chair, I will defer to County Council for the hearing board for clarification to that.
No, it can be placed on the agenda regardless, but I mean, if the board would like to vote just to make sure, that would be appropriate.
Okay, I mean, well, if that is so, I mean, the Member Spencer, you brought it up, so let's actually vote just to make it, I mean, the kind of a little bit tighter on that one. So I would imagine that you would make the motion.
I will make the motion.
Okay, so the motion would be, pretty much, for San Diego, I mean, the Public Utilities Department to present a status update on the July 28th, I mean, on the progress, for returning back to compliance. And then do I get a second? I will second. I mean, so we have a motion by Member Spencer, I mean, the second, by Member Rodriguez. And then, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Thank you, Chair Rodriguez. Member Gonzalez?
Aye.
Member Powers?
Aye.
Member Spencer?
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlick?
Aye.
Chair Rodriguez?
Aye.
Madam Chair, that item passes with all members present voting aye to include an update from the City of San Diego on the July 28th agenda.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you so very much. Are there any comments, from anybody else? Perfect. Well, I believe, that, this concludes our meeting. It's going to be kind of sweet and very action-packed, for the 28th, of July. I wish you the most wonderful, 4th of July and a great, the weekend as well. So I will talk to you soon. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.